All right, Scorpio, thanks for tuning in to your January of 2015 horoscope. My name is Athen. All right, so the emphasis this month is on your third house of teaching, learning, communicating, exchanging, sales, siblings, all of these things that have to do with exchanging information, exchanging data. Also has to do with the left side of the brain, which is about analyzing, understanding, conscious awareness from a earthly sense, a very practical sort of house. So this is the emphasis for you, and it starts on the 1st when Mercury goes into that third house of yours. So I think naturally you're going to be thinking about perhaps how you're communicating, or thinking about perhaps how you're thinking. See, the third house is a very important manifestation house. It has to do with how we're thinking, what we're saying, what we're putting out into the universe, how that is creating our reality. And so this is a very powerful month for you to take control and mastery over what you're thinking and communicating in order to assist you in your overall manifestation abilities this month. So strong emphasis there, and also an emphasis on your 4th house too, which is going to be involving Mars, which I'll talk about shortly. But you will be reflecting on that, so think about that. See how you're communicating, see how you are thinking about things. Now also on the 1st, we have Mars opposite Jupiter. Mars will still be in that 3rd house, so there's going to be a balance between your 3rd and your 9th house. Jupiter's been expanding your life path, opportunities, travel, long distance matters, philosophy, spirituality, all these things that expand us either physically, emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. Lots of opportunities there. Also university is part of this as well. Overseas matters or long distance matters. So opportunities there. Now needing to balance that with the day-to-day stuff that you're going to be thinking about this month, the practical side of things. You know, the 9th house is often thought of in terms of the right hemisphere, the right side of the hemisphere of the brain, which is calling for a balancing this month between your left and your right hemisphere. So in other words, while you're seeing the big picture, make sure you're taking it, making it practical. While you're looking at things practically, make sure you're looking at the big picture. Make sure you're looking at things from that overarching perspective. If you can achieve that nice good balance between these two hemispheres, you'll notice that it'll flow for you. Anything in your life will flow when you have that natural inclination to understand things both on the upper level, the larger picture, as well as the specific, what you might call earthly or lower level as well. But lots of movement to that 3rd house, so just make sure that you are not losing sight of the big picture while perhaps you are taking care of things on a mundane level this month. Now on the 3rd, we have the Sun going over Pluto, which is a carryover from last month, where we had the fast-moving planets go over Pluto in your 2nd house. So a lot of you had some transformations involving your sense of self-worth, your resources, your values. And so now this is a final shifting in terms of that. And because we've had so much activity already with Pluto, what this is giving me the indication of is that this is a coming alive period in terms of that. This is, I think, where there's going to be a very tremendous shift for you in terms of your self-worth. And the shift will happen in sort of increments. I think the first shift will be here around the 3rd, and then on the 14th when the Sun leaves that 2nd house and goes into your 3rd. So around the 3rd, though, this is important. There will be some transformations. I think there'll be a newfound sense of self-worth. So step into that power, release some old ideas, some old notions in terms of what you are worth or what your value is. Let those go, and then naturally there will be a illumination here of conscious energy, of spark, of imagination, of creativity that comes from this. Now on the 4th, we have Mars going into Aquarius, which is your 4th house. Now this is where your 4th house starts to play an active role. So on one hand, while you do have the conscious element of your manifestation, now you have the emotional element of manifestation, where you not only need to see things and put out positive or whatever specific intentions in terms of your conscious mind, but also feeling How you feel mirrors your reality. And so with Mars there, he's going to be there for the remainder of the month from the 4th onward. So putting energy into allowing your feelings to take form. You know, Mars is about action orientation, and whenever he's in the 4th house, it's about transferring those feelings into action, into reality. So take charge there. You know, Mars can take charge. It can take something and make it into something. In this case, taking your feelings and making them into something. Take your feelings, and by acting on them in a very, conscious way, because you have all this conscious energy, you can shape your reality depending on how you feel. Now, this is very important, very powerful, good sense of control there in the 4th house. And then on a mundane level, this has to do with home and family. So I think naturally a lot of you will be motivated towards home and family this month and a little bit into February. So do that. Do whatever changes, whatever action, energy you want to put into those sectors. Also your past, your roots, and those sorts of things. And you'll find by doing those things, it'll create energy and motivation for you. Now on the 5th, we've got the full moon in Gemini, which is your 8th house of transformation, of depth, of the important elements of life, of seeing behind the veils. And so with a full moon here, it's an awareness of the deeper meaning of life. You know, 6 months ago, you had a new beginning in terms of your values. And now this is a high point. Excuse me. It's a high point of your deep spiritual values, what's important to you underneath the surface. And it's a culmination of that, what took place about 6 months ago. So see, excuse me, see the abundance in your life in terms of the deeper undertone to what you're connecting to. How it's so important for you to connect to your relationships on a deep emotional level. How for you to connect to your life on that deep level as well. And with the full moon here, it really has a strong spiritual tinge of being able to understand not only the spiritual side of life, but overall your spiritual power. How it's so important for you to tap into the inner core that is you, which is both human and what you might call higher dimensional. And seeing that, merging those two together will create a tremendous amount of spiritual power. So reflect on the spiritual side of things around the 5th. Reflect on the deeper meaning of your life, and in terms of the specific things in your life, such as relationships, getting deeper with those, and you'll find that very, very abundant. Now on the 10th, we have Pluto squaring up to the North Node, and this is essentially the overall energy for the month. From the 10th to the 16th, this will be exact. So we'll be feeling this all month, but especially during this time, really see where you need to make some changes. Like last month in December, we made some changes or had the opportunity to. Now this month, it becomes much more real in terms of what we are actually creating. I think from the beginning of the year, we're going to have a clear understanding of this. So now it's taking it and really putting it into action. And essentially what it's about you creating more freedom in your life. The North Node is in your 11th house, which has to do with being of service, freedom, humanitarian, community, groups, friends, collective type of things, innovation, technology, whatever that is for you, focusing on this area, on those things, not only this month, but for the whole year, while you've got the North Node in that 11th house, you're going to notice it's flowing for you. Your overall life is flowing. Because you're in a time now where it's very important for you to cultivate these things. Cultivate groups. Get more involved with groups. Get more involved in collective type of things with technology. Get involved in terms of giving. Focus on where you can give more and be more of service. Very powerful stuff this month and for the whole year. So make whatever changes you need to make in your life to facilitate more of that giving energy. It's that Aquarian energy of the 11th house. Now on the 14th, we've got the sun going into Capricorn, which is your 3rd house. So this is where, like I was saying, it becomes very conscious in terms of what you're thinking and what you're communicating and how to put it out there. This could be a month where a lot of you are learning, perhaps through university because of Jupiter, but perhaps just practical knowledge of understanding things, or teaching, communicating, these types of things. And on the 14th, this is when you really start to get creative with it and come alive with it. The sun is our passion, our life force energy. So from the 14th onward, notice how it's so important for you to have positive thoughts, positive communications, and when you have those, it brings more overall enjoyment to your life and creative life force energy. Now on the 19th, we've got Venus opposite Jupiter, so again needing to balance 3rd house and 9th house, but this is going to come very easy because Venus and Jupiter is a very positive aspect here. Again, merging the hemispheres of the brain, seeing how you can bring more of the long distance, expansive things into more of a practical reality into your life, and vice versa. You'll find that very, very enjoyable, especially with all this learning and stuff that you're doing or communicating that I think you're going to be enjoying this month. Now also on the 19th, we've got Uranus conjunct the South Node, so this has to do with releasing some old ideas or notions about your creativity, about your self-expression. And so whatever releasing needs to take place there, go ahead and do that, because wherever the South Node is, it shows us, okay, we've already mastered that part of our life. Now we want to move into the North Node direction. So for you, it's focusing on giving. It's not so much self-oriented, anymore. Now it's about other-oriented, focus on giving. And naturally through that, from the 19th to the 21st, there will be a natural releasing there, not so much needing to concern yourself with what you're doing, what's what you're creating, and your sense of pride and self-worth from that, but more about, okay, what am I being of service to? What am I contributing to? And that'll be very positive for you, and you can implement that into any area of your life. For example, in relationships, how can you give more? In terms of your work, how can you give more, etc. Now on the 19th also, we've got Mars conjunct Neptune. So this is a very spiritual sort of aspect here, and while you have that Mars in that 4th house of motivational stuff with emotions, home, and family, this is a sensual time, a time of going with the flow and relaxation, enjoyment, perhaps taking a little bit of a rest, but seeing how you can connect to yourself on a spiritual level. With Neptune in that 4th house, you guys have had a good spiritual connection to what's going on the inside. Maybe you don't completely understand why you're feeling a certain way, what it means, and this and that, and it's not meant to be analyzed. But with Mars there, it's meant to just feel into it, take a relaxation, take a break, and naturally that will be a good inspiring energy for you. Now on the 20th, we've got the new moon, and that is happening in that 4th house. So with all of this energy in terms of 3rd house, communications, etc., something new here. Perhaps a new perspective entirely. A new moon in the 3rd house is very conscious shift sometimes, a strong conscious shift. So reflect, especially for you guys around the 20th, in terms of any new insights that you receive, new information, and any new goals that you might be pursuing over this next 6 months involving communication or speech or thoughts, writing, teaching, learning, all of this 3rd house type of stuff. Also siblings is third house if that's specific to you. But whatever that is, start to cultivate it from the 20th onward. Around the 20th, reflect on it. But as the lunar energy starts to build into February, utilize that energy more and more. Then on the full moon, you'll see a culmination of that. And then in 6 months, you'll see an even larger culmination. Now on the 21st, we've got Mercury going retrograde in that 3rd house. So again, reflecting on your thoughts and communications, very important from the 21st into February. And it's not so much not doing things like is often talked about in terms of Mercury. It's about learning. So learn more about how you are sharing, giving, and receiving information and just things on the mundane level. Now on the 22nd, we've got Venus going into Aquarius. This is where things start to shift for you in terms of home and family, especially because you're going to find it very enjoyable. Connecting to your past, connecting to your family, connecting to home. Very, very good for the last week of this month and leading into February. Now on the 31st, we have the last aspect. Mars goes over Chiron, so any healing that has to take place on the inside, even our bodies as well. 4th house does rule our bodies on, especially when spoken of in terms of an emotional level. So feeling good, feeling healed about something, maybe physically, around the 31st is setting a good solid foundation for for February. All right, so let's go ahead and draw a card for you guys and see where Spirit would like a little more emphasis. Okay, Cancer. Well, that is the emotional body, the receptive body. It's everything I'm talking about in terms of the home, family, emotions, and so perhaps this is a reminder to connect to things on that deep, subtle level. This is perhaps a month where it's very important for you to, while it is action-oriented, make sure that you have a good, solid, emotional, everything's good, like a symphony, inside emotionally, everything's nice and peaceful and tranquil, taking care of the home and family things, etc. And specifically for Cancer, you guys have Jupiter transiting, well, we all have Jupiter transiting Cancer, and this is in your 9th house. So this is about lifting things up and expansiveness. And I think there's a connection there with this month where there's all this emphasis on home and family. I think it's going to lift, it's going to create expansion in your life, lift you guys up. So see the positives, see the opportunities that are available to you there, because they have been, and they've been assisting you on your past. Perhaps family have been literally assisting you, perhaps soul family. These types of things are all very beneficial to you on your life journey. So this is a very important month, I feel, to tap into those things. All right, well, I hope you guys have a great month. Please get in touch if you have any questions. Get in touch if you'd like a personal reading. You can click the link down below for a discount on that. And I'll talk to you next time. Take care.